Hello everyone. Today I will be discussing about the tombs of Khusru Bagh in terms of its architecture and the conservational threats the site is facing. The tombs of Khusru Bagh belong to the Mughal Emperor Jahangir's first wife Shah Begum, daughter Nisar Begum and son Khusro Mirza. There is also a fourth tomb belonging to an unknown figure, Bibi Tamulan. The site of Khusru Bagh is located at a busy cross-section of the city of Allahabad in Uttar Pradesh. In north, it faces the railway station of the district, and in the south, it lies on the Grand Trunk Road, facing one of the main markets of the city with hundreds of temporary and permanent shops as seen in the map. The second map shows the proximity of the site to the rivers Ganga and Yamuna. This image shows the plan of the complex. The site of Khusru Bagh is a tomb garden in Chahbagh style, meaning the complex can be divided into 4 equal parts and the tomb lies in the middle of it. This table talks about the architecture of the tombs. The tombs are made of red sandstone available locally. The tombs of Shah Begum, Nisar Begum and Khusro Mirza are square in shape, unlike the tomb of Bibi Tamulan, which is octagonal in shape. The tomb of Khusro has frescoes and Persian inscriptions inside the tomb. It houses the tomb of Khusro Mirza and his son Dawar Bakhsh with a cenotaph for aesthetic purposes. The tomb of Nisar Begum contains both frescoes and inscriptions as well, with a cenotaph located in the ground floor of the tomb. The tomb of Shah Begum shows an amalgamation of both Rajput and Mughal architecture because she was born as a Rajput princess. The tomb has a square pavilion instead of a dome. The fourth tomb belongs to an unknown figure, Bibi Tamulan. The tomb has neither any burials nor cenotaph, with no inscriptions or frescoes. Let's talk about the conservation aspect of the tomb. The site faces a number of natural and man-made threats. Biodegradation is one of the threats the site is facing. Patches of biofilm were observed both on the tomb of Shah Begum and Nisar Begum. Disaggregation is another threat that the site is facing. It is the process of mechanical disintegration of the rock by various natural phenomena, but can be accelerated by increased human contact. It was observed on both the walls and ceilings of all the 4 tombs. Scaling is also a problem observed in the tombs of Khusro Bagh. It is the process of stone detaching from the rock in stacks of scales from the surface. It can be seen more prominently on the floors of the tombs. Delamination is the process when the lamination of the rock breaks because of excessive atmospheric pressure inside the rock, in this case damaging the frescoes of the site, making it one of the biggest threats the site is facing. Both the tombs of Nisar Begum and Khusro can be seen affected by it. This illustration highlights the damages on the frescoes. Allahabad, being situated at the confluence of river Ganga and Yamuna, stays at a high risk of floods every year, especially in between the months of June and September. Previously, the city has been prone to flash floods, including the recent floodings of 2001, 2016 and 2019. The map highlights the proximity of the site to the rivers, which is approximately 9 kilometers, making it a severe threat to the site and the frescoes. The tombs mainly faces the grave threat of vandalism in the form of graffiti. The graffiti can be seen on all the walls and doors of the 4 tombs done by visitors over the course of previous years. The site being present between the compact cross junction of the railway station and the main market on either sides, and is also surrounded by hotels and several permanent shops on the eastern end of the complex. The vehicular pollution produced by the busy population has resulted in the degradation of the sandstone. Patches of yellow and black sandstone along with delaminating frescoes could be a result of the pollution produced in the area. After looking at the threats of the site, let's look at the conservational aspect of the site. Conservation is a process of maintaining the heritage to uphold its significance. Conservation can be of 2 types. Preventive conservation, which aims at conserving the site through minimum intervention in order to protect the site. On the other hand, curative conservation practices direct intervention with the help of chemicals and other methods to conserve the site. This is a table that presents the previous conservation work done by the Archaeological Survey of India between the years of 1955 to 2008. Both the conservation methods have been applied to the tombs in the previous years. The work include cleaning of frescoes along with the walls of the tomb being treated with chemical solvents against biodegradation. Restoration work has also been done on several parts of the tombs. Before talking about the possible interventions that may be suggested in order to propose some conservation methods to the site, it becomes imperative to understand the structure in its entirety because conservation is a process and it depends entirely on the technique of make, material used for the building along with various other architectural aspects of the monument. Hence, this is where the study of architecture comes handy because the remedies will vary from monument to monument. Even though a lot of conservational work has been done on the site, it still faces serious threats as mentioned earlier. A lot of curative methods have been used on the site for its conservation. Hence, these methods could probably be modified in a way that it's more effective for the conservation of the tomb. Application of latest techniques like X-ray diffraction and thermography may help in reading and identifying the amount of deterioration done to the stone in case of disaggregation and scaling. The threat that the site faces against vandalism is one of the biggest problems. Little or no work has been done for the removal of graffiti present on the site, according to the reports. One of the biggest reasons for the vandalism is the huge number of visitors the site gets on a daily basis. The complex is used by the locals as a playground and passengers from the railway station as a waiting area. Ticketing the site can be a way to control the large number of visitors the site gets. Along with that, engagement with the local community and monument is very important. Locals need to be aware of the cultural and historical value of the monument. Heritage walks can also be arranged from time to time by the concerned authority in order to spread awareness among the locals as well as to popularize the heritage. And with that, I would like to conclude this presentation. This is the selected bibliography. Thank you.